Hey everybody, it's Heather Nichols here, and I want to talk to you today about change. Change in your business. What do you do when it's time to change something in your business? And this could be the business, your business as an entrepreneur. This could also be what I call the business of your life. So, that includes everything. It could include your family and your money flows and your body and how you run your household and your relationships. So business to me is a very broad term. But we all have different things that, they're just like, there comes a time where things just aren't really working anymore. And if we look at this in business, this happens a lot. Business is a very changing landscape. There's, things that work one day that don't necessarily work the next. And one of the things that kind of mistakes that a lot of people make, that I have definitely made many times is looking to change something into something else rather than looking to do something different. Now, that was not a grammatically correct way to say do something differently. But different is different than differently. Different is different. Differently is kind of like slightly different. So I'm going to be grammatically incorrect here. And actually, there's a class that I do called Business Done Different. It's a Joy of Business class, and that's specifically why we call it Business Done Different. We don't call it Business Done Differently. So I digress. So anyway, with change, we're so trained to look at something that doesn't work and try to figure out how to change it into something that does work. And the funny thing about that is that a lot of times that is an approach that doesn't work. Because you may be dealing with something that just, it's done. It might be done. It might not have ever really worked in the first place. It might not be for you to create. It might not be for you to create right now. There's lots of different, reasons why things tend to not work. And it depends on the moment and the person and the business and the project. But anytime you're looking to, especially if there's a really big sense of not working in your business or your life or with a project, there's a really big sense of it not working. That's when you want to start looking at what can I do that is different here? What could I create that is different? Not how can I change this into something that works. And part of that is also that when we have an agenda, when we change something based on an agenda, we don't, the agenda really clouds, our awareness, it clouds our decision-making, it interferes with our ability to come up with ideas that might actually really work. An agenda is, you're starting out really from a deficiency. If there's something that you've decided that you need to make work or that you need to happen, you're starting out from a deficiency. Whereas, and so anything you're going into with an agenda, it's going to be tricky and especially when it comes to changing something that doesn't work into something that does. With the agenda of that, you're really debilitated from the get-go. But when you start to go, well, what can I do that's different? Like that to me just has such a different vibe to it. It's like, wow, what could I do that's different? That is, you're really starting to look out of the box. You're starting to be innovative with what it is that you're creating and what it is that you're doing. And the most successful businesses are the ones that are where there's a lot of innovation. There's a whole lot more I could say about that I won't now. I'll save that for another time. But to stay kind of relevant in the marketplace and to stay, as offering something that is in demand, you do need to keep innovating. And you can't innovate by trying to change something, hold on to what it is and just make it slightly different so that you can make it work. Innovation is what's new, what's available now, what are people asking for? What is the, kind of tone of the marketplace and in your particular industry? Are there problems that you can solve for people that, are very creative solutions? Or maybe you don't have a business where that's about problem solving, because they're not all about problem solving. But maybe it's, what could I create for somebody that hasn't ever existed before? Perhaps I could create something that people didn't even know that they needed. I know lots of entrepreneurs that have beautiful products that people had no idea that they needed. And they created them really different, and they're doing really well. So look, if your business isn't working, look at what can I do that is different, not how can I change this. And I've been doing this in my own business lately, and it's been amazing to see where I have actually in the past really tried to change things that weren't working, or that I would, maybe they were working somewhat, but I wanted them to work in an even greater way, and trying to change those things. And get them to work and get them to work and get them to work, or get them to grow, or get them to be more successful or profitable or whatever. And now I'm doing something really different, and it's been amazing to see what it's creating. It's changed my entire business. It's just changing so many things. And so I kind of forgot about this tool for a little bit, and have been dynamically using it in my own business, and seeing some really cool things come to fruition. It's how you get people's attention. It's how, you kind of like, if you're constantly innovating, people are going to be curious about what you're up to. That's just kind of how it works, and looking for what is different. And how do you do that? I mean, that is perhaps a story for another time as well. But what I would say is begin to ask, just ask the question, what can I create that is different than, and even what can I create that is different than anything I have ever created before, and anything that I've ever considered creating before. You could ask that yourself if you're a solopreneur. You could ask that with your team if you have a staff, or if you're a member of a team. And you have a bigger business with, more of a staff. You could ask that together and do some brainstorming and see what shows up. And sometimes those ideas just kind of pop out of the blue, and we're off to the races with a brand new creation, a brand new product or offering or whatever. So it really is, it does begin with that question and the intention to do something different, create something different, and also the willingness to let go of what you've created before. Because so often we hold on to things, like when we've invested in something already, whether it's financially or with our energy or our time or whatever, when we've already put a lot of investment into something, this is one of the reasons people try to change things rather than do something different. Because when we've invested into something, we tend to have more of a need or a desire to hold on to it. And it can be harder to let things go when we have a lot of time, energy, money invested into something. You will be so much more successful in whatever you do, business, relationships, all of it, if you are willing to let go of things, even if you've invested dynamically in them, because that's what also keeps you kind of fresh and on the creative edge, and really at the ready for new ideas and new creations, and you have the resources for it. If you're not pouring your resources into trying to get something to work, but you're actually making the resources of time, energy, and money available to new projects, products, creations, offerings, that when they come along, you can start to run with them and try them out. If they don't work, on to the next one. There's a lot of so many creations out there that haven't ever gone anywhere. But I know for me in my business, it's been so much, it's a lot of trial and error, and every choice I make creates greater awareness for me of what's going to work in the future. And so nothing that I've ever done has ever been a failure, because it's always led to something greater. And if you have that attitude and you and your team have that attitude and you're always at the ready for different, you will stay on the creative edge in your industry. You will be an innovator, and you are so much more likely to be dynamically successful at what it is that you're doing. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was a contribution to you. We're going to be dropping a lot more videos like this every Monday and Thursday. And so make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things, share if it was a contribution, and take care. And put some comments down below. I'd love to see, if this contributed to you. And always fun to interact with people on these things. Enjoy, happy innovating, happy doing things different.